Welcome to E-Content Development Center of Malabar College of Advanced Studies, Vengara. Myself, Nawal Mohammed, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of Commerce. So today we will be dealing with a session on Introduction to GST. As you all know, this is a paper that we are studying in our 6th semester. And this paper, that is Income Tax and Introduction to GST, has been introduced in the year 2017, and still it is a new topic to all of us. So today I'll be going to the basics of GST. What is GST? Or how this GST has been implemented in our country? Or what are the new terms that is included in GST? What is the reason for implementing GST in our country? So this will be the topic that I'll be dealing today. So as you all know, GST is a term that is known as Goods and Service Tax. Now, this is a tax which has been introduced in the year 2017. GST is a tax which has been introduced after subsuming a number of taxes, that is central excise tax was there, sales tax was there, VAT was there. So all this number of taxes has been joined together and we introduced a new concept which is known as GST, that is Goods and Service Tax. This is one of the biggest and significant indirect tax reforms in India. Earlier in India, there was a number of taxes. As I told earlier, there was multiplicity of taxes. There was cascading effect of taxes. There was the problem of ununiformity of taxes. So all this has been avoided by introducing GST in our country. So this is a comprehensive multi-stage destination based tax. So we can define GST as nothing but a comprehensive multi-stage and destination based tax which is levied on value added, every value added. So this is a single tax system that has been introduced and it has been followed throughout the country. We all know that around 160 countries all over the world has been using GST, and by introducing GST in our country, we are having a good rapport with all the other countries in our nation. So this GST has been introduced with the aim of bringing one nation, one tax and one market. നമുക്കൊക്കെ അറിയാം നമ്മുടെ ഈ നാട്ടിൽ ഒരുപാട് പ്രോഡക്ട്സുകൾ വിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഈ പ്രോഡക്ട്സുകളൊക്കെ വിൽക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ മാത്രം സെയിൽ ചെയ്യാനല്ല. The reason for introducing this tax is to make sure that all the products that has been made in our country is exported and it has been sold in other countries. So in order to maintain the uniform common market, the term GST has been introduced. So it helps in improving the overall economic growth of the nation. It is mainly the main reason or the main objective for introducing GST was to avoid the cascading effect of tax. Earlier, as you all know, there was excise tax was there, there was central taxes was there, VAT was introduced. So these were all bringing a cascading effect, that is we were paying taxes above taxes. With introduction of GST, we were able to avoid that. It reduces the complications of filing indirect tax. It becomes more simple. So people started accepting GST in a more usable manner. GST include three taxes mainly, that is SGST, CGST and IGST. SGST is State Goods and Service Tax, CGST is Central Goods and Service Tax, and IGST is Integrated Goods and Service Tax. This GST has been introduced as a dual taxation system in our country. Dual taxation in the manner that when a product or a good or services has been sold within the state, the tax that is used there is SGST, that is State Goods and Service Tax. This tax along with CGST will be charged whenever the goods and services has been sold within our country. In the same manner, when we are selling the goods from one state to another state, the GST that is charged over there was integrated GST, that is Integrated Goods and Service Tax, which will be given to central government. So whenever a goods and services are being sold in one state, both the state government and central government is getting the benefit of that. This adoption, as I told, GST is not something that has been adopted within a day. It has been adopted in the year 2017, but the planning, the framing of policies, the framing of rules and regulations and all started in the year 2000. In 2000, the then Minister Arun Jaitley, Finance Minister, introduced the concept of GST, and various forums were formed in order to introduce this GST in our country. From the point of 2000 to 2017, various planning, regulations, organizing, everything was conducted in order to introduce GST in the year 2017. So, the main objective, as I told earlier, is to avoid the cascading effect and also to avoid the double taxation. The GST has been introduced by implementing different tax rate. The different tax rate that was introduced under GST was 0% tax rate was there, 0.25% tax rate was there, 5% tax rate was there, 12% tax rate, 18% tax rate, and 28% tax rate. The entire goods and services has been divided and it has been given under all this tax rate. The 0% tax rate has been mainly given for certain foods, books, newspapers, homespun cotton clothes, and hotel services under 1000 rupees. And 0.25 tax rate has been applied to certain industrial diamonds. 5% tax rate has been used for packaged food items, footwear which is coming under 500 rupees, apparels which is below 1000 rupees. Usually the most used tax rate is 12% tax rate because it involves apparels which is coming over 1000 rupees, frozen meats, cutlery, sugar, biodiesel, etc. 18% tax rate is given to certain luxury items which is including makeup items, pastries, swimming pool, and food items which is coming on footwear which is coming over 5000. And 28% tax rate is given for luxury products, and those luxury products include sunscreen, ceramic tiles, and all the food items which is coming rupees 1000 rupees. So, the entire goods and services has been divided under this 5 tax rates. That is, usually the tax rate that is coming is 5% is coming, 12% is coming, 18% is there, and 28% is there. Now, what are the salient features of GST, or why GST? As you all know, GST is usually charged on supply of goods and services. So, when there is supply of goods and services, only then GST is applicable. So, what is supply of goods and services? Supply of goods and services means the goods and services need to be supplied. That means there should be a taxable person and the supply should be for a consideration. Whenever the supply of goods and services is for a consideration, there arises GST, and this supply should be always included within our taxable territory and should be done by a taxable person. So, the most important basis for charging GST is always based on supply of goods and services. Under supply of goods and services, we have to know what is the time of supply, we have to know what is the place of supply, we have to know what is the value of supply, and while calculating all these three, we will get on charging what is GST. GST, another feature of GST is based on the principle of destination based tax. Whenever we are defining GST, we are defining GST as a destination based tax. Earlier, we were following sales tax. Sales tax was always considered as origin based tax. That is, the sales tax was charged whenever not at the point of consumption but at the point of production. But when we came into GST, it is a destination based tax. Destination based tax means the tax is levied whenever the goods or services are being consumed. It is levied at the point of consumption. It is levied at the point of destination. It is not levied at the point of origin. Another feature of GST is it should be levied on both intra-state supply and interstate supply. So, when we are studying about GST, we have to be familiar with two terms, that is what is intrastate supply and what is interstate supply. Intrastate supply is nothing but when the goods and services are being supplied within the states, we can call it at intrastate supply. For example, when Raj of Kerala means Trivandrum is supplying goods to Arun of Ernakulam, then this is a case of intrastate supply because both the supplier and the recipient is there in Kerala itself. So, what will be interstate supply? Interstate supply is when the recipient is in one state and the supplier is in one state, then we can know it as interstate supply. So here, for example, recipient is in Kerala and supplier is in Orissa. So this is a pure case of interstate supply. So whenever we are calculating GST, first we have to know the place of supply for determining whether it is intrastate supply or it is interstate supply. On the basis of that, we have to calculate whether SGST has to be charged, CGST is to be charged, or ITGST is to be charged. So when we are defining the scope of GST, GST apply on all goods and services except 3 products. There are 3 products which is not included under the scope of GST. The first one is alcohol for human consumption, the other one is tobacco products, and the third one is specified petroleum products. So these are the 3 products which is not coming under the GST scope. This GST, as I told earlier, SGST, CGST, this all have been determined by both the sender and the state. When the sender is charging the GST, it is known as sender, that is sender GST, and when the state has been charging the GST, it will be known as state GST. There are a number of taxes which were followed earlier. As I told, when GST came into force, GST eliminated a number of taxes. Some of the taxes which the GST replaced was central excise duty, duties of excise, that is medicinal and toilet preparations, additional duties of excise, goods of special importance, additional duties of excise which is including textiles and textile products, then the duties of customs, that is was commonly known as CVD, and additional duties of customs, service tax, and cesses and surcharges, so that they relate to supply of goods and services. So these are all the different types of taxes which has been replaced by GST. Now, there are some state taxes that has been subsumed within the GST. When GST came into force, these are the taxes which has been subsumed within the GST. And these include state VAT, state value added tax, central sales tax, purchase tax, luxury tax, entry tax, entertainment tax, taxes on advertisement, taxes on lotteries, betting and gambling. These were all the taxes which has been subsumed within the GST. Okay, now we will be discussing about the scope of GST. So I am going to repeat what I have told earlier. The scope of GST is extended to whole of India, including Jammu and Kashmir. So that is our taxable territory. So whenever the goods and services are exchanged, whenever the goods and services are sold within the taxable territory, then the goods and service tax is applicable. Today, we have discussed the basics of GST. So before winding up the session, I would like to summarize the points that I have communicated with you all. First, we discussed about GST. GST, goods and service tax. We discussed about why GST has been implemented. We discussed about the adoption of GST. Along with GST, we discussed what was CGST, SGST, ITGST. And when GST has been introduced, what are all the taxes which has been replaced by GST and what are all the taxes which has been subsumed by GST. So this all were the points that I have discussed with you all, and in next classes we will be discussing about what is the need of GST, why GST has been introduced in our country, what are the objectives of GST, and most importantly, when GST has been introduced, there were so much of new terms that has been introduced, and these new terms will be discussed with you all. So today I will be winding up this session. Thank you all.